Good evening, everybody. Good to see you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Looking forward to a nice stream tonight. Probably won't be a full 2 hours, but we're gonna have a little bit of fun here. We're gonna do some Rust on boxcar. This is Caboose from Garett. We might get into working a little more on the New Haven C425 project that started a while ago. But before we get into any of that, we have a fancy box here that needs to be opened. So we're gonna give people a second to kind of filter in, but then we're gonna get into that box. So I'm looking forward to that box a lot. In the meantime, though, let's say hello to everyone. Jeffrey, Garrett, good to see you guys. Oh, you had to wait a whole 2 minutes, Garrett. Dang, I can't believe I would put you through such torment. Dennis, good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome in. And Giuseppe, welcome in. What is that in the back? Do you mean this here? These are my my shelves, or my drawers, I guess. I got electronics and soldering equipment. I got tools. I got building details / scenic details. I've got rolling stock parts and details, and then styrene and wood and metal and stuff. Oh, Garrett thought it was 7 p.m. Oh, yeah, that would make quite the difference. That would make quite the difference. 7, 8. Oh, the boxcar. Okay, gotcha. Yes, this is Penn Central PCA 50-foot boxcar here. Is it a PS 5344? Oh no, it's an ACF 5090. Gotcha. Penn Central X71 boxcar. That I started weathering about a week and a half ago, off stream, just kind of getting some stuff done. Yeah, I got a good start on it. I've tarnished the roof nicely. I've got a good fade on everything. I started running some rust along the roof line, but we'll be getting more into that in a bit. We'll probably work on continuing the rust along the roof once we're done with 203 for the night. But like I was saying, before we get into any of that, we need to talk about this box here. Iron Horse, welcome in, welcome in. Glad to have you. Hope you're doing well tonight. All right, let's clear a little bit of space here so we can take a look at this box, because this box is something that I'm very excited for, and we'll be getting a full video on the channel very soon. It'll be probably my way to kick my brain back into editing videos. But this box here, as you can see, is from Scale Trains. Now I don't have a ton of Scale Train stuff, just because a lot of the stuff that they make is too modern an era for me. They do a lot of more modern, 90s, 2000s stuff. But they did announce about what is going on? Oh, my camera freaking froze. 1 second, let me fix that. But about a year ago, they announced something that did very much interest me. That's the wrong camera. No, that's the right camera. Why is it not? Oh boy. Excuse me. All right, hang on a minute. Oh boy. My overhead camera has decided it does not want to work. Yeah, I'm wearing my flannel. You love your feeling. 108 Fahrenheit there today. Yeesh. Yeah, that's definitely not flannel weather. Yeah, it was a nice, like, 65 here today. It's a rainy day. Okay, why the hell is this not working? So yeah, my camera's having a brain fart. Let me try. All right, let me try just do this. Let's do the... Oops. Let's do this one. Transform. There we go. Now we got the box back. Huzzah! So, what was I saying? Oh, yes. So, I haven't gotten a lot of things from Scale Train just because most of what they do is a bit too modern for me. At some point, I might consider picking up one of their C39-8s just because that was what ran a lot on the Beacon branch in the 80s and 90s. So, I might pick up one of those just for, you know, for that sake. But about a year ago they did announce something which greatly interested me and falls squarely within my era, so I went ahead and pre-ordered one, and those things have finally come out of the factory and gotten shipped out. And so here we have the moment you've all been waiting for. A GP40. Let's take this out of here. Get the big box out of the way so we can take a look at the little box. Now, there are a lot of Jeep 40s out there. Atlas has made them. Kano hasn't made Jeep 40s. They've made Jeep 38s. They've made Jeep 50s. But this looked nice enough for me to justify getting. And I can use it for my story because, excuse me, I believe it's the 3, I believe, GP40s that the BNCCS has, all are former Penn Central units. And so, in that vein, I picked up a Penn Central GP40 in its as-delivered scheme, number 3140 here. And it will get some patches into BNCCS power. Let's see, what's Iron Hearts? I was in the Hudson the other day watching the good old washing trains. Had a good time. One of the Amtrak engineers put on the Chinook snow out of one of the P-42s blowing turbo. Nice. All right, here you go, Giuseppe. Let's get this box open here for you. There's our instructional manual. And there is the unit. Ooh, that looks really nice. Let's get it out of its shell here. That way you can actually see it and you don't just see a big plastic glare spot. So we got the same packaging as in my Scale Trains SD40-2. We got the sleeve, we got the clamshell, and then the soft plastic under it. So there we have our GP40. Let's pop that out of there. Let's get the clamshell out of the way. Before I do any more, let me go ahead and zoom in. Ah, dang it. What did I just do? There we go. I clicked the wrong button. Oh, it's one of those nights. Let's go to like that. Yeah, that seems about good. So, if my chair will cooperate with me. Here we have the GP40 from Scale Trains. We got, looks like lit number boards. 3140 up visible up in there. We got wipers. We've got all separate little hoses on the nose here, which look fantastic. It does look like, I'll have to take a look at the packaging. It does look like in transit, my unit lost one of its cab mirrors, so I'll have to reach out about that. But the ones that are there look really good. The little wind deflectors. Some nice looking fans in the fan housings there. Hey, what's up, Ray? Welcome in. Good to see you. We are taking a look at the brand new, literally just arrived today, Scale Trains GP40 in N-Scale. I got the Penn Central one, and it will eventually get patched into a BNCCS unit. Let's get these, come on. Get these foam pieces out of there. There's the Penn Central. It is nice. Yes, it is. Oh, man. It is beautiful. So it does have sound installed. I got the sound a sound installed unit. So we're gonna have to test out what the sound sounds like here in a moment. Looks like it's got a full cab interior too, which is pretty sweet. Or maybe not full, but it does have a detailed cab inside. So I am very much looking forward to having the having this as something fun to play with here. But before we move on from it, let's go ahead. Let me grab my test track here. Let me bring it over here. Get the almost dumped a couple cars off the back of my desk because I wasn't paying attention. Let's get the test track in here. Come on, sit flat. What is it on? Oh, that's what it's on. Okay. So let's go ahead and put this on the test track. I'm not really going to be able to show off sounds to you guys. I'm going to show that all off. I'm going to do a review video at some point in the next few days. Let's go zoom out just a few notches here, though. Then let me bring my local programmer over here. That way I can hook up the wires to my test track. And then we can get some sound going here. All right. Now I need to launch the Loc Programmer app. As far as you know, the Penn Central inherited G40s from the New York Central. Really cool locomotive, by the way. Scale Trains did a nice job. Indeed, I agree. I believe that's correct. I think the Pensy had... Well, the Pensy might have had G40s too. So it might be number series dependent. Get my Loc Programmer fired up here. There we go. Let's go to driver's cab. You inherited 105 of them during the 68 merger. Yep. So actually, I think this unit, 3140 in particular, was purchased by the Penn Central based on the quick little bit of research that I just did here. Before we do this, let me quickly temporarily pause the music here. Yeah, well, the UP never had GG1s, but it ain't stopping you. Absolutely, and it's coming out far better than I would have thought that Armor Yellow would look on that frame. So, all right, let's get Mikey in position here to take a listen. Will we be talking to an Ed sketch rifle? No worries. Thanks, Iron Horse. Thanks for stopping in. All right, let's go ahead and get this going. Let's hit F8. Get the horn. Whoa, very loud. Let me back Mikey away a little bit here. Sorry for anyone who's got headphones on. That's a little better. I just did a little shield with my hand. Nice sounding horn. Hit the bell. Nice bell. Let's notch it up a little bit here. Some nice automatic brake sounds going on that. First. You hear the brake. You hear the brake sound. Yeah, the brake releasing before it starts to move. That's really nice. little jittery at speed step 1, but I am hopeful that that should smooth out with some runtime. It sounds expensive. So this is moving along at speed step 1 out of the box. So you can see it's a little bit jittery. But again, I'm hopeful that that should smooth out with some runtime breaking in. And it's also a little bit, just a little bit fast for what I like. But it's very nice. Why upside down, Dave? Well, because typically I'm working like this, but breaking it and tuning it. Exactly, Ray. Yeah, Dave, this is not a typical thing to happen on stream here, showing off a brand new locomotive like this. But yeah, once I break it in, I think it should run nice and smooth. And once I tune the CVs, and it'll smooth right out. It'll be able to have some nice, good low speed control. Because even though it is jittery, it's still moving along nicely, and it's still moving in pretty slow. So I'm happy with having this train now. So like I said, there's the brake automatically applying once I hit, go to speed step 0. So that's neat. Anyways, gravity defying train. Yeah, it must be Australian. Right, Ray? You've got some experience in that matter. Hey, Billy. Welcome in. All right, let's shut down the prime mover here. All right, well, that works too, I guess. So I'm gonna have some fun with this. It's got some really nice detailing. It's got like etched metal step boards. I don't know if you can really see those, but it's a worn out joke to them. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it is, Ray. But yes, I'm pretty happy to have picked this up. It was a bit expensive, but if I buy an expensive locomotive once every, year or two, and spend the rest of my time buying relatively cheap stuff that I can tune up and fix up and work on, then I'm happy with that. So with that out of the way, I am extremely happy to have this, and I can't wait to really dig in and hear all the sounds and see what all of the it's got a lot of sounds. Off rip, it has headlight. Well, going down the functions, obviously aren't all sounds, but we got headlight, bell, horn, coupler, dynamic brake. Some units clearly have ditch lights and Mars or gyro lights. I assume the Southern Pacific and Rio Grande ones have gyros. And those seem to function, which is pretty neat. F8's startup. We got drive hold, independent brake, radiator fan turning on and off. We got the dimmer, so we could do what's it called? Rule 19 lighting, I think is what it is. An air dryer. We can turn the number boards off. By default, the number boards turn on when the unit started up, which is nice. But yeah, we got a bunch of really nice stuff. So I look forward to digging into this unit more. But it's not. It looks really nice. I'm really happy with it. So you'd like to take a shot at tuning an N-scale locomotive on the Loc Programmer. Told that the proto-throttle isn't effective on an N-scale locomotive. You'd have to find that out. You'd like to find out for yourself. Well, let me put it this way. Having run an entire op session on an N-scale layout with a proto throttle. I would disagree with that sentiment. Heath loves his proto throttles, and that's pretty much all that he uses on his op sessions anymore, and they work well on the N-scale locomotive. So it's all about getting it tuned. Anyways, now that that is out of the way, we've showed that off, and I'm super excited to do that. But now we can get into the actual weathering of tonight's stream. Just real quick, I wanted to give you guys an update on 765. As you can see, it is once again hornless. I was trying to get the shell to sit right, and I had to take the shell on and off a couple times, and one of the times the horn just flung off and busted up. So we're gonna have to fix that up. You forgot about Heath, but who can blame you? No, don't blame you. Blame Heath. That's the whole thing about it, Ray. Good stuff. So let me grab some gloves here, and we're gonna get started on continuing work for Garett's Finger Lakes Railway 203. There we go. What is that plastic? Probably something from the SD40 or GP40. Set up a double track oval of Unitrack to just set up a double track oval of Unitrack to test reefers. A few long reefer cars. They don't like number 4 crossovers. That's fair. That makes sense. I mean, number 4 crossovers. Well, number 4 anything with Unitrack is finicky in my experience in T-Track world. So I'm not surprised. I'll put it that way. Especially with the longer car like that. But I wish you luck on improving that. Just had that happen on Finger Lakes 2003 dish lights. Got it reinstalled. Glue is setting. Hoping it will last more than 5 minutes this time. That's good. Yeah, hopefully. All right. What am I doing here? Finger Lakes 203. Let me grab my reference images from Garett. There's Garett. Let's grab these references. Okay, so tonight's goal is rust. We're gonna get a fair bit of rust on the roof because from the angles that I see here, there is a decent amount of rusting going under the roof. We're gonna fully coat the the roof vent here in rust because the best reference image here, it is totally encrusted. So we're gonna mix up a little bit of acrylic rust here, and then we're also gonna use some oil paints. Rusty dusty, indeed. Where did I put my, it's really not important. I'm not really gonna bother with that. Let's use this. Your dentist project is 90%. You're waiting on a part to come so you can finish and get it off to me. Oh boy. excited to find out what that is. I look forward to receiving a box. I'll have to pull something together to send out to you in return. Something that'll. What era do you model with the Santa Fe stuff? It's like 50s. Can give me some ideas on what kind of thing I can send out in return. No reciprocal required? Well. No reciprocal required. Doesn't mean I can't enjoy sending a reciprocal. We'll see. We'll see what I can figure out. We'll see what happens. Might ask me later for some decal design. Happy to help with that. I'm quite fluent in that. I could certainly help you out with that. Dan, good evening. Welcome in. Welcome in. You're here just in time for the weathering to begin. The weathering portion of tonight's stream. We plan to freelance the Mesilla Valley Railway. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, I'd be happy to help you with that. Alright, so let's start off here with needs to be more brown. Going ahead and coating this up. Cool, thanks. My pleasure. We're going to coat this whole roof vent in rust. Just as red as the one on 2310. The Finger Lakes Railway really does make some choices, don't they? With, when it comes to color. Oh, shoot. What did I do with that? How did I dip it? Alright, well, I'm gonna have to fix that with a little bit of water. Let me grab some water here. Put some fresh gloves on. Oh, well, this is dry. This is totally dry. That's the nice thing about acrylics is when I spread it thin across my gloves, they're nice and dry. These were fresh gloves as soon as I started. The issue is I tapped the side of the car with this, so let me. Oh, I have some water here somewhere. There it is. Paper towel. A little bit of this. Let's dunk it in the water. The beauty of working with acrylics right here. The horn is red because it's the next Santa Fe unit, and Santa Fe is cool, so ATSF Heritage Horn. I mean, I guess that makes sense, but my statement still stands, I think. You know, I don't think anything that I said has been untrue, so they decided the full ATSF Heritage would be a tad much. Hi, are you late again? No, Lord Cuppa, welcome in. You're here right on time. Welcome, welcome. It's good to have you. Good to see you came back. Okay, so now that that's done and that's cleaned up, do a little bit more rust up here on the roof pipe. So, because Paul didn't stream tonight to ask, first of all, how is everyone doing tonight? And second of all, what's everyone been working on? It's an incredible operation. They do so much because, quote, it would be cool. It's a railroad operated by cowboys and managed by people who did not grow up, that grow old, not up. Very nice. Fantastic, even. I love that for them to use a, you know, say what the kids today would. So now let's start doing some real rust here. Let's see, what's everyone up to? Ray is programming locomotives for club running on Sunday. Yeah, that looks like fun. It looks like it'll be a good time. I wish I could get out there for that. I hope you enjoy running at the club, which would be good. Caboose doing good. Planning your T-track layout still. You took my advice and watch my older T-track videos to get a better idea. Nice. I think you'll go DC like me and chat suggested over DCC. Yeah, starting with DC is a good way to kind of get a handle on things, because, you know, like we were saying last week, it's always easy to upgrade from DC to DCC. So it's cheaper and somewhat easier to start with. Let's see, Dan is finishing up a scratch-built coil car and prepping your modules to create a prototype scene for your AP certificate. Nice! Very nice. Good luck with that, Dan. I gotta get started on my scratch building projects and things. I've got a couple locomotives, not scratch built now, a couple locomotives fully detailed out that I can submit for rolling stock, or for locomotives. I haven't done any scratch-built rolling stock yet, though. I've started, you know, I've got some ideas on what I want to do, but I have not gotten around to it yet. So Giuseppe just purchased some old metal carry body shells. 3 E3As and 2 E3Bs. Cool. Garett is almost finished with ditch lights on 2003. Hope you can get it done tomorrow. Need to work on some additional decals. Some refinement, some additional. Dave says Brewers win. Garett says he was not going to do the warning labels, but you think it will add a nice touch to do so. I agree. Warning labels, they're so small, and you think, you know, no one's going to miss it. But when no one notices that they're not there, but everyone notices when they are there. At least in my brain, I notice when they are there. So, John, good evening. Welcome in. Good to have you. Hope you're doing well tonight. You know what? I am going to add a little bit more. I'm going to add a little bit of dark brown to this. I think it's just a little bit too light. You may need some help from me to make an EMD builder's plate. You want... So this is for 2003. So that's... I forget. Remind me again, Garett. 2003 is a Jeep 38. Jeep 38-2. So that would be the square GM builder's plate. I think I have a template file I can send to you that I made for myself. Giuseppe, that is going to be HO. Garett does a little bit of everything. Garett does N, Garett does HO. He's got some O, he's got some G. But his 2003, his Finger Lakes 2003 is going to be HL. It was built as a Jeep 40-2, rebuilt to a 38-2. Got it. Okay, so yeah, that's going to be... Yeah, I've got the I've got that style of build plate already drawn up. I can pass it on to you. Just shoot me a reminder at some point, you know, either tonight or tomorrow, and I'll get that over to you. Excuse me. My pleasure. NHOSOG. Oh, I missed S, but you retired from N scale, too small for your eyes these days. Yeah, that's fair. I've decided I'm going to do a wash of this first before I continue on doing these like actual rust spots. Just give the whole thing a hue. Also learned most Gundams are 1/150, 1/160 scales, so think of adding them to your Kato Uniline modules. That would be, yeah, I've seen that done before, and I know a lot of folks tend to, you know, especially a lot of folks who are into, you know, modeling more Japanese prototypes and things like that. They incorporate a lot of Gundams into the modules that they do. So you will be far from alone if you do some Gundams in there. Let's see. Garrett would like to get back a bit more into N scale. You'd like to model a few trains. N scale is better for that. HO is nice for modern equipment and super detailing. You can thank Paul and Dennis for getting me into super detailing and getting you out of N. Hey, first of all, you can blame Paul for getting you out of N. I'm the one who's down here super detailing in N scale, so just saying. But yeah, I know it's a whole nother world trying to detail things in N scale, so I don't blame you for not, you know, not wanting to fight with that. I do not blame you in the slightest for that. And I blame Paul for getting me into detailing, so I think we can agree that we all blame Paul, and then we can go from there. No, Garrett, I'm insane. Oh, that's looking really good. I'm really happy with how this is coming out. Actually, I might try and pick up a little bit more of this. I think this might be a little too strong. I think the more subtle rust is doing it's looking much nicer. Always Paul's fault, indeed. And when it's not Paul's fault, it's Heath's fault. As long as it's not my fault. Well, Garrett, this is your Caboose after all. What do you think so far? This roof here. It's try and get it at an angle where you actually can see some of this stuff. Subtle is good. Better than looking like a murder took place on the roof. Yeah. Should watch Heath. You hear a lot of things, but never check it out. Well, Heath is... I actually think you might appreciate Heath for this more than I do. Because Heath does a lot of... I mean, his whole stream is trains and tech. He does a lot with the technology. Where he does MQTT and... LCC and his whole... every turnout in his layout is controlled through... JMRI, through tablets that he set up and stuff like that. That bright spot looks a bit red. Yeah, so that's what I'm kind of working that back a little bit. The other thing is I can always go back over the the brighter spot with some darker paint. Let's finish this up here like this. Now let's let this fully, well, not fully dry, but let's let it kind of air dry a little bit here. And then we'll see how it looks from there. But yeah, I think you Garrett, you'd probably appreciate the technology aspect far more than me. I'm not as techie of a person. It's the Jupiter card, the Great Red Spot. Yes. Well, you see, Garrett, I'm trying to give you some storytelling. You put a big rust spot right here, and then in with the decoder sounds, you put a dripping, you know, a little dripping water. It's, you know, the roof is leaking. There you go. Perhaps he can convince you to dabble with JMRI and LCC. So far, you don't play with that. Well, if anyone will convince you, it'll be Heath. He does some pretty neat stuff with it. You do love playing with electronics and animation. He does do some of that. He animated the lighting on his layout. So over the course of an op session, your lighting will change from day to night and back. So he's done some pretty neat stuff. And his layout's pretty nice too. Don't tempt me. Now you may. You want me to, I mean, hey. If you want to do that, I can, you know, I can arrange for, I can arrange for the storytelling. You know, I can put a nice, you know, big uneven rust patch right here. That one obnoxious dripping sound from Mission Impossible. That's the one. That's hilarious. Alright, so while that's drying up on the roof a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and get into these grills, these window grills. I need to find some working police flashing strobes in HO scale. East Coast Circuits. East Coast Circuits has some nice lighting stuff. They might have it. Let me, there you go, Giuseppe. Jeff is right too. You could probably do it as a blue LED, just program it as a rotary beacon. Yep, that's the easy way. I want to see what the... Yep, you got it, Garrett. I don't know what, actually, your link is different than mine, and I don't know what link I brought up. Oh, I brought up the HO scale gallery, apparently. But, regardless. You need to make a BL2 and RCMP scheme with the red and blue flag. That's hilarious. That's really funny. So, Garrett, I have a question for you with these grills. Did these come with the Caboose? There we go. These etched metal grills, do those come with the Caboose? Or did you make them? My assumption is they came with, because they're all pretty precise. But I'm curious. Yes. Okay. That was my assumption. The reason I ask is because it is like the perfect grill for, it's like it would be the perfect mesh size for an HO scale or N scale locomotive grill. So that was why I was asking. They're from Tangent, part of the Caboose kit. Yeah. That's kind of what I figured, but you know, if you had a source, I wanted to know. Because like I said, they're scale wise, they're pretty much just right for an N scale locomotive grill. So ECC has a dealer in your state, the Train Shack. You might visit them and see what they have. Nice. Very nice. Garrett dry fitted them to make sure I have the right ones. Well, that's good. It's always good to check. You know what? Let me do it like this. I need another small container somewhere here. Give me another small container, please. Desk. I know I have some somewhere. They do sell etched metal bits as poly bags. Prices are... I might have to look into that because a flat etched metal panel is a lot easier to work with than for it, like inside the shell of a locomotive, than a stretch of tool fabric. How do I not have another little like cap or something here? I know I do somewhere. Oh, there's one. Excellent. Alright, let's get a little water in that. I think the full replacement set for the Caboose is $5 to $10, and there's 15 to 20 pieces. Ooh. I'll have to take a look into it, because it's really ideally what I would get is like a sheet of material that I can cut to size. But I could make do with the pre-sized pieces. Alright, let's go ahead and... There's our wash. I'm going to go ahead and just dunk everything in. Just get a very subtle thing. You like that rust much better now? Yes, I do too. Sam, it is wonderful to see you, my friend. Good to hear you're alive. Hopefully you're doing well. Hope you've been good. What have you been up to recently? Where's the next piece? There's one right here. Dunk it in. Coated. Set up, put it down. You do find their email support to be wonders. You had an issue with finding some parts you needed. They sent you the link to all the parts you need within an hour. That's fantastic. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is awesome, Garrett. So I don't know how well this is going to work in terms of actually staining these pieces of metal, but we're gonna give it a shot, and then we can always go to oils or powders. Let's see. Sam caught his first tornado, then had one start developing on top of your house all in one day. Oh boy. Yeesh. All part of a localized outbreak. Yee. Catching the tornado, that's pretty neat. I've always found storm chasing interesting, and I don't think I've ever had the full desire to try it, but I've always enjoyed weather watching. Having one start developing above my house. Less cool. Less cool. Giuseppe figures you can have the red, blue flashing lights come on with the ditch lights. That would be nice. Yeah, wire them into the ditch light. You know, I bet if you just got some red and blue LEDs and programmed that, wired them into the decoder on either the ditch lights or just auxiliary functions, and then programmed them to just be blinking and put the blink rate to, pretty high, you might be able to do okay. You're all fine, but the other places got hit pretty bad. Yeesh. I'm praying for everyone out there then. I'm glad to hear you're good though. Alright, we'll see how that turns out. Keep that over there. That might work, Dennis. Yeah, I've gotten very much into lighting recently, and I do blame that on you, Garrett. So at least you know there's plenty of blame to go around here. I blame my recent interest in lighting on you, and actually have a lighting question for you at some point. Trying to get marker lights on my Conrail SD40-2 from Scale Trains, actually. And for some reason, it ain't doing the thing it's supposed to do. So, worst part is you were in the bathroom when the warning was issued and not hiding in the tub. Getting a whole new definition to getting caught with your pants down. Yeah, no joke. So, listen, Garrett. Yeah, actually, that project is sitting right over here in my locomotive cradle. Making use of those red LEDs, but for some reason, you know, I've got one hooked up in the front, one hooked up in the back. The front one works fine; it comes on with the ditch lights, but I can't get it to stop the blinking, even though I turned that function off, or at least I thought I did. And then the rear one just won't come on, no matter what I set in terms of programming. So I think I'm programming it wrong. So I'm gonna need someone with a little bit more experience. And unfortunately for you, Garrett, you are that person. I'm sure we can figure it out. Yeah, it's I'm sure it's not an insurmountable problem. It's just annoying. Yeah, I'll pull up. I'll send you some pictures of what I've wired everything up to, and we'll screen share, open up Loc Programmer, and sit down and figure it out. Hearing a new playlist in the background, or just hearing one you never paid attention to? Well, I don't think this is a new one. So, well, maybe you just never caught this one before, this particular song before on the loop. I'm not sure, but yeah, this is the same music I've been using for a while now. So yeah. Trying to maintain somewhat of this rust spot on the roof here for you, Garrett. So if you decide to, if you do want the drippy drippies, here you'll have a you'll have the ability to do so. Okay, a little more dark rust on that. Get some streaking coming down. Off of this here. When you were in the army, the drippy drippies had a totally different meaning. I don't know if I want to know. Okay. Okay, there we go. Let's get that wrapped around there. All right. Think it's time for bed? Sounds good, Garrett. Good night, my friend. Thanks for tuning in as always. Hope you're liking what you're seeing with 403 or 203 here. Excuse me. Brain fart. I know I am, so hopefully you are as well. What a difference having a dehydrator makes for painting well for drying paintwork. Oh yeah? Yeah, I'm happy with how that looks. I think that looks fantastic. So now what we'll do, once that is totally dried, we'll go back in with some oil paints on top of it and kind of really dial in the what am I saying? Dial in the actual, you know, active rusting spots as opposed to what we're seeing for the most part there, which is the what's it called? Streaks for the most part. So sounds good, Sam. Thanks for stopping in for a bit. Glad to hear you're safe, and always good to hear from you, my friend. Have a good one. Alright, so while that's drying, let's jump over here to Penn Central boxcar. Actually, before we do that, I want to do a little bit more of this onto these panels here. Really try and stain them up nice. Alright, so that all can go away now. And we'll jump to using the oil. Picked one up recently for drying paint jobs and train car bodies. Cuts dry time by more than half. Wow, very nice. Hey, good to see you tonight. How you been? How's work been? You been settling in well? Ed? I know you've been, it's been what, probably a couple months now? So hopefully you're settling into your day shift now. So what I'm basically doing here is I'm taking just a small, I'm basically dry brushing with oil paints here. Just a small amount right around all the edges of these panels and everything. I'm kind of like panel lining them, you know, like you would for a military model or a Gundam or whatever, where you infill with panel line, except I'm doing the infill manually with some oil paint. And I'm giving the effect of grime and just the smallest amounts of rust starting to work their way down the roof here. Work is work. Mondays are chaotic. Everything needs to be done. Yeah. Dennis should really try chipping fluid soon. I think we'll find it quite useful. Yes, I keep meaning to get around to getting some chipping fluid and giving it a shot, but I've just not gotten around to it. But I've heard a lot of really fantastic things about chipping fluid and would really like to try it, and I just haven't. Like I said, just haven't gotten around to it. But yeah, that's understandable. Mondays being chaos. So glad you're retired. Do not miss work at all. Pardon me. How different would weathering wood cars be? I guess it's... technique-wise, in terms of, like, how you use the brush, like, how I would use the brush and stuff, it's not all that different, but actual, like... weathering technique wise, it's quite different. It's a lot more kind of graying out, you know, because as wood gets wet and dries and gets wet and dry, a lot of the like natural color from it will get leached out, kind of. And bleached out, really, and you gotta really get some. Actually, give me a moment, just one moment. I have an example. It's either over here or it's in my closet. I found it. So, we need chipping fluid and the wood grays. Wood also warps and cups, cracks and splinters. Yeah. So this is just an AccuRail kit. What kit was this? Yeah, this is an AccuRail kit. So it's just, you know, outside brace wood sheets boxcar. But and this is not fantastic. I've done a couple better since, but this one I just knew exactly where it was. But you can see how it's a lot of graying out panels and kind of dark. Yeah, I used a lot of panel liner to infill a lot of this stuff to give kind of the depth of, you know, the wood starting to crack and warp, and you start to see deeper into the car, so it's darker. And then theoretically you can go back in and add just a little bit of rust you could add on the outside bracing, but with the lead-based paints at the time, you really would not get much. That looks good. Thank you. Like I said, it's not amazing, but I knew exactly where it was, and it gets across the technique pretty well. And you know, it gets across kind of the idea that I'm talking about. Maybe someday I'll do a wood car on stream. They are very fun to do, but it's a very different technique. I've done this, and then I've also done wood decking on a flat car, which is over there. Let me go grab that, because that one I am very happy with. There we go. This is my N scale flat car that I did. And this I actually did a lot of kind of taking chunks out of the plastic decking. But I also added some chains on there and stuff, and you know, rusted out the metal bracing. But this is same kind of technique. It's kind of getting a bunch of different colors and streaks in there. So I've got some reds, some yellows, some tans, a lot of grays, and then in this one it was a lot of taking chunks out of the edges of the car where all the loads would ding it and beat up the boards and stuff like that. So this one came out super nice, and I was very, very happy with it. It's one of my favorite pieces to show off. Excuse me. Must not look good in person because it looked really good to you, Dan. Well, thank you, Kyle, and welcome in. It's good to see you, my friend. There was just give me a second to pull this up. Trying to find. There it is.
Greetings, it's Jason Hill of the.
So this is a 50-minute video, but this one, it gives you some ideas on how to weather wood, but also it's the kind of tutorial, I suppose, I followed when I was working on that flat car. That was that video was the inspiration.
That part.
So, and he's got a couple other links down in his description of more things you can do. But it is a really good video. So, anyways, back to work on this here boxcar. Also, how are these coming along? There's definitely some color happening here. So that's good. No worries, Kyle, no worries. Good to have you here, even if it is only for a moment. How have you been? Hopefully well. Anything in particular you've been working on recently, Kyle? I think my goal tonight is to try and get to here. If I can get to here tonight, then I will call it. Now, weathering wood kits is the same as plastic. So, a lot of the techniques are the same. I'd say that the real difference is with wood, you can get away with using stains and actually getting more realistic stuff like that. You can actually chip into the wood a lot easier and kind of nick the corners of boards and things like that. Whereas with plastic, you have to use paint. But with the wood, the biggest difference is you can use stains to help you really get that appearance, and you can, you know, use some distressing tools like wire brushes and stuff to really get some nice grain going and stuff. So if anything, weathering wood kits might be a little bit easier to get them to look more like wood cars. I have not done, I think I've done one wood kit, but, excuse me, gotten a new to you BLI J3A Greenbrier and a new passenger car. Great start to a future project. Very nice. Very, very nice. I think I remember seeing that either as, I think you put up a post about that, maybe, if my mind is recalling correctly. That locomotive looks great. Now, I can't say much about this, but you folks that are here, speaking of steamers, I'm going to have a chance to see a pretty interesting steamer at a very interesting place in a few weeks here. But I can't really say too much more than that at this time. Just, you know, as we're kind of firming things up with what's going on and confirming travel plans and things like that, but should make for some very nice content. Makes sense. Wood cars for wood kits for wood cars. Exactly. It's the locomotive that starts it all for you. Nice. What did you see, the 614 or something? But yeah, wood cars for wood kits for wood cars. You know, you can't get, you can't make when you're trying to make it look like wood, you can't really beat wood. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Excuse me. Next challenge, wood car build and weathering. Ooh. Nice. 614, yes. Your uncle had VHS tapes of it pulling the Chessie Safety Express with other Chessie trains. Nice. Very nice. The closest thing I think I had to that was probably... Yeah, probably the closest thing I had to that, to like a, you know, a locomotive that I kind of idolized sort of growing up, was probably 4449, you know, GS4, from the I Love Toy Train tapes. They had a whole segment on it, and the Freedom Train, and Daylight, and so that was kind of one of the big, I guess you could say, sort of idol locomotives, if you will, for me growing up. As I'm sure it was for many, many young kids. But someday I would like to get out to Oregon and see her at ORHF. Of course, now I know, you know, not only is it her, but it's also the SPS 700 and the, what's the one they have fired up right now? Slipped my brain, but you know, RHF it's a very neat place, from what I hear. So someday, hopefully, I'll be able to get out there and actually see the 4449 face to face. Yeah, I can't go wrong with 4449, indeed. She really is a beauty. I might someday pick up a model of a GS4. The issue is I know the Coddle model of the GS4 has all sorts of issues, but it is on my, I guess it's a kind of a bucket list train. At some point I would like to have a model of the AFT. Considering, you know, I models between 75 and 85, and it was in the Northeast, and, you know, I could, especially considering it was on the New Haven for a chunk of that time, I could very easily justify having a model of the AFT. So that's a someday train for me, is a model of 4449 in her AFT scheme, pulling at least a representation of the train. Because I know the Lovell Smith cars that are out there are worth money, money, money. So, your parents brought you to the AFT when it was in Albany? Man, I'm jealous. Would that have been the Reading T1 pulling it in Albany? I don't remember where they swapped the T1 in and out. But would that have been AFT1? You actually saw 44, 49, 700, and the nickel plate PA and whatever else they had there. Man, I'm jealous. Ciao, Giuseppe. Have a great night, my friend. Thanks for tuning in, and hope you have a good night. Alright. I honestly might bail here as well. We're at a good stopping point for both of these. This roof is, you know, approximately half done. AFT1. Okay. That's kind of what I thought. And someday, you know, I would have to probably get a model of the AFT1 as well, especially considering that was what hauled it up here. As fun as it would be to, oh well, you know, one of my railroads restored steam locomotives was what was hauling it in the Northeast instead of AFT. I don't want to do that big of a change. I think that's just a little too. It's a little too self-inserty for my liking. So. I'll get the AFT1 and probably 44, 49 at some point too for nostalgic purposes. Sounds good, Kyle. Thanks for tuning in. Glad you popped in for a minute. It's always good to chat with you, and have a good rest of your night at work. I'm just going to fix something real quick on my 4316 model that I just noticed. And then I honestly will probably call it a stream as well. We'll do a brief recap here of what we've done tonight for folks who joined in a little later. AFT1 was East Coast, that was West Coast. Texas, yeah, and Texas had their own. Well, because the thing is, it wasn't even AFT1 was East Coast. I think it was just AFT1 was pretty much the Northeast, if I remember correctly. And it was because of clearances, if I remember right. You know, the AFT1 was a lot smaller of a locomotive than the 4449. So she could make a lot of the sharper curves and tighter clearances in the Northeast. But if I remember right, I'm trying to remember where exactly it was, but I think 4449 might have handed it off in Chicago and then picked it back up in DC, maybe? Yeah, and then Texas had the TNP 610, maybe? Hold on. Now I gotta look it up. American Freedom Train. Yeah, it was right. The Texas and Pacific 610. Let's see here now. I can't find it easily here. Maybe this one. Timeline. Here we go. a mess. Rust. Columbus, Ohio, Richmond, Ohio, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Detroit, Michigan. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was more east-west. I don't know. I'm too tired to be skimming this freaking website right now. Yes, the first AFT was, yes, it was PA. Red, white, and blue PA. Excuse me. And it was kind of, it was more of like a, sort of like a victory tour kind of train. Anyways, I'm getting well and truly distracted by this AFT nonsense. But while we're talking about it, I do want to share. I do want to share this fantastic video from Peter Dibble for anyone who's still out there on the history of the American Freedom Train. I think Peter Dibble did a fantastic job of going through the whole history of the train and, you know, its full journey and the miracle that it even came off at all, really. I think he did a fantastic job of covering it, and I highly recommend you all give it a watch if you have an hour to spare someday. And also, while you're there, go check out the rest of his videos, because I think he does. Yeah, I think he's a fantastic documentary filmmaker. So, anyways, enough rambling on and on. Speaking of, well, I guess not speaking of rambling, but ambling. I could do the Preamble Express. That's also a fascinating thing. You know, the testing the route of the AFT. So tonight, the first thing we did was we opened up my brand spanking new Penn Central GP40 from Scale Trains, which looks beautiful. The only minor thing that I've noticed about it so far is the fact that I am missing a mirror, a cab mirror. I need to check the box to see if it's in there, and if not, then I gotta reach out to him. After we took a good look at that and blasted everyone's earbuds out with the horn, we went back to Garett's Finger Lakes 203. We weathered up the roof real nice. Nice and worn, nice and dirty and rusty. And once that was done, we went back to Corey's boxcar and did approximately, I think, about that much of the roof with some weather, with some rust. Just some light rusting happening. So, overall, a very productive stream. But I think I'm going to call it there for tonight. An hour to spare. I know, it's hard to find. It's hard to find, but dude, I do, and you know, you put it on in the background, and you do something, you know, do some modeling work, and you have it up on your monitor, or you have it up on your phone next to you, or whatever, and then you glance over. It is worth watching because he does do some really nice graphics in there as well. But regardless, it's worth watching or listening into or whatever. He does a fantastic job going through the story. Anyways, on that note, I think I'm going to call it a night. So thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening. It's always good to spend time with you guys on a Monday night. And I will see you all on the next track.